Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well today. I am Bhavna. I will be with you for your journey of business studies.
Good morning, Ma'am Bhawana. We're excited to learn with you.
Thank you, class. We're going to dive into our business studies chapter 1. Now, business is a very practical subject, and it's not just about theoretical concepts. We'll be looking at real life examples to make it relatable and easy to understand. I know you had already covered accountancy chapter 1, but now let's get into the world of business, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Yes, we are ready. Let's begin.
Good, Ansh. The scope of business is vast, and in today's class, we'll learn the basics of business activities. Trust me, if you make good notes, this subject will be much easier to understand. I'm going to share some examples from my own life, so listen carefully and keep writing down key points.
Miss Bhavna, what exactly do you mean by business?
Good question, Ansh. Let's start with the basics. So, when we talk about business, we're talking about any activity where people engage in dealing with goods and services for profit. Business means staying busy, but not just with anything. It's a structured activity where money is involved. So, if you're just playing a game or having fun, that's not business.
But Miss Bhavna, if we buy something and sell it, is that business?
Not exactly, Bushra. Business is not a one time activity. You can't call something a business if it's just a single transaction.
Hey Bushra, I heard you're selling your personal phone?
Yes, Nishat, I want to upgrade my mobile. Do you want to buy it?
Yes, I'm interested. Here's the money.
Great, here's the phone. Thanks.
See, Bushra and Nishat, selling your personal phone isn't a business. Why? Because it's just a one time thing. For it to be a business, it has to be something you do regularly. Like if Mr. Rajkumar buys and sells goods all the time to make a profit, that's a business. The key is regularity. If you do it regularly and aim to make a profit, then it's considered a business.
So business has to be ongoing, not just a one-time thing. Got it.
Hello, Mr. Rajkumar. Do you have sugar and flour today?
Hello. Yes, I restocked everything this morning. How much do you need?
I'll take 2 kilos of sugar and 5 kilos of flour. Do you sell these every day?
Yes, this is my business. Every day, I buy groceries from the market and sell them here to earn a profit.
Oh, that's why you always have fresh stock. You're running a proper business.
Mr. Rajkumar is doing a business because he buys and sells groceries regularly with the goal of earning a profit. That's what makes it a business, not a one time activity.
Okay, we got it. So, because he does it regularly for profit, it's a business.
Exactly, Ansh. You're catching on quickly. Now, there are two types of human activities: economic and non economic activities. The difference lies in the purpose. Economic activities are done to earn money, while non economic activities are done for personal satisfaction, like helping a friend or doing something out of love.
Ma'am, could you give us an example of a non-economic activity?
Sure, Bushra. A non economic activity could be something like Mr. Rajkumar helping a homeless person by giving them groceries for free. He's not earning money from it, he's doing it out of kindness, so that's not a business.
But what if Mr. Rajkumar starts selling groceries to customers regularly? Is that a business then?
Great point, Bushra. Yes, if Mr. Rajkumar regularly sells groceries for profit, then that is an economic activity because it involves earning money.
So, if I start baking cakes and sell them to customers regularly, that would be a business, right?
Exactly, Bushra. Now you've got it. A business is all about regularly engaging in an activity with the aim to make a profit. It could be anything: baking cakes, selling clothes, or even offering services like tutoring. Okay, students, I'm asking questions to check your understanding. Ansh, what's the main difference between economic and non economic activities?
Economic activities are done to earn money or income, while non economic activities are done for personal satisfaction or social reasons.
Good. Nishat, can you give an example of an economic activity?
Mr. Rajkumar's running a grocery store to earn profits is an economic activity.
Okay, so businesses involve regular activities and profit. But is there a difference between business and a profession?
Wow, very good question, Ansh. Yes, both business and profession are economic activities, but they are different in how they operate.
How are they different, ma'am?
In a business, people buy and sell goods or services regularly to earn profit. For example, Mr. Rajkumar sells groceries to his customers daily to earn money. That's a business. In contrast, a profession is a specialized occupation that requires specific knowledge and skills.
Can you give an example of a profession?
Sure, take Mr. Abhinav, who works at Taxova Consultants. He's a tax consultant who provides expert advice on taxes to clients. He doesn't sell goods but offers his professional services based on his knowledge and expertise. That's a profession.
So, a profession is about offering services based on skills, and a business is about selling goods or services regularly for profit.
Exactly. Both are aimed at earning money, but the key difference is that a business focuses on trading goods or services, while a profession requires specialized knowledge and skills.
Oh, I see now. So, Mr. Rajkumar runs a business by selling groceries, while Mr. Abhinav practices a profession by using his expertise to provide tax advice. That makes it clear.
Ma'am, Mr. Rajkumar is selling goods, but what about services? Are they also part of business?
Good question, Ansh. Yes, services are an important part of business too. While goods are physical things like groceries or clothes, services are work or help one person gives to another, usually for money. For example, Miss Shrankla teaches students and earns money for it. She is not selling any physical goods. Her teaching is a service she provides regularly.
Oh, I get it. So, teaching is a service because Miss Shrankla is helping students and earning money for it.
Exactly. Ansh, let's now explore the types of business ownership models. There are several types, but today we'll focus on two common ones: sole proprietorship and partnership. Let's start with the first one: sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is a business owned and operated by a single individual. This person is responsible for all the decisions, profits, and losses of the business. For example, imagine Mr. Rajkumar running his grocery store. He manages everything on his own, buying products, selling them to customers, and handling all finances. That's a sole proprietorship. It's simple, easy to set up, and perfect for small scale businesses.
Ma'am, does that mean Mr. Rajkumar doesn't share his profits with anyone and he's the sole owner of his business?
Yes, Ansh, since Mr. Rakamar owns the business alone, he keeps all the profits. But he also takes full responsibility for any losses. It's his business, so everything, good or bad, is his to handle.
Oh, I see. So, Mr. Rajkumar has full control, but it also means he takes all the risk too. What if he wanted someone to share the responsibilities and risks?
Good point, Nishat. That's where partnership comes in. In a partnership, two or more people join hands to run a business together. They share the profits, losses, and responsibilities. Let's take an example. If Mr. Rajkumar teams up with Mr. Gopal Das to run the business, they would be partners. They might agree to divide the work and profits equally or in some other way, depending on their agreement.
Oh, that makes sense. So, in a partnership, they can share the workload and the risks, just like Mr. Rajkumar and Mr. Gopal Das. It's like teamwork in business, while a sole proprietor like Mr. Rajkumar is the sole owner.
And what about big companies? How are they different?
That's where corporations come in. A corporation like Taxova Consultants Private Limited is a legal entity separate from its owners. It can hire employees, own assets, and enter into contracts. The owners are shareholders, and the company is managed by a board of directors. Corporations are ideal for large scale operations.
So, corporations are like big teams, while sole proprietorships and partnerships are smaller?
Exactly, Bushra. Now, Nishad, what is the difference between a sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation?
Ma'am, a sole proprietorship is owned by one person, a partnership by two or more, and a corporation is a large, separate legal entity with limited liability for its owners.
Now, Bushra, can you give me an example from a sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation?
Sole proprietorship, Mr. Rajkumar running a store alone. Partnership, Mr. Rajkumar and Mr. Gopaldas running a store together. Corporation, Mr. Abhinav managing a large company.
Exactly, Bushra. Now let's talk about the resources businesses use. These are financial, human, physical, and technological resources. Can anyone guess what financial resources are?
Money?
Very good, Ansh. Financial resources include capital, loans, and investments. For instance, Mr. Rajkumar might take a loan from a bank to expand his store. Human resources, on the other hand, are the people who work for the business. Think of the staff at 7-Eleven Snacks. They're an example of human resources.
What about physical resources?
Nishant, physical resources are tangible assets like stock, furniture, buildings, and vehicles. Mr. Rajkumar's stock of rice, his store's furniture, and his delivery truck are all physical resources.
Okay, got it. What is technological resources?
Lastly, technological resources include tools like computers and software. For example, Mr. Rajkumar uses a billing software for invoicing and printing receipts.
So, ma'am, resources are what businesses use to operate. There are four types: financial resources, money, capital, and loans; human resources, people who work for the business; physical resources, tangible assets like stock and equipment; technological resources, tools like computers and software. Each resource helps a business run efficiently.
Exactly, Ansh. Now, let's move on to the two main components of business activities: industry and commerce. Industry is about producing goods or services, and it's divided into three categories: primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Ms. Bhavna, what's the difference between primary, secondary, and tertiary industries?
Good question, Nishat. Let's break it down step by step so it's easy to understand. First, the primary industry is all about extracting and harvesting natural resources from the earth. These industries are directly connected to nature. For example, agriculture, growing crops like wheat, rice, corn, and vegetables. A farmer growing wheat is part of the primary industry. Fishing, catching fish, shellfish, and other seafood from oceans, rivers, and lakes. Forestry, harvesting timber and other forest products. Mining, extracting minerals, coal, oil, and natural gas from the earth. Reliance Industries, for instance, extracts oil, which is a part of mining. Livestock farming, raising animals like cattle, sheep, and poultry for meat, milk, or wool. All these activities focus on using natural resources directly, making them part of the primary industry. Let's now move to the secondary industry, which is the next step in the economy. The secondary industry processes raw materials from the primary industry into finished or semi-finished products. It's where raw materials are transformed into something more useful or valuable. For example, manufacturing, producing cars, electronics, clothing, and machinery. Factories take raw materials like steel and turn them into tools or appliances. Construction, building homes, bridges, roads, and other infrastructure. Textile production, converting raw cotton, wool, or synthetic fibers into fabric and garments. Food processing, turning raw agricultural products into packaged food like canned vegetables, bread, or beverages. Energy production, refining crude oil into gasoline, or generating electricity in power plants. Now picture this. The wheat grown by a farmer, which is part of the primary industry, goes to a flour mill. At the mill, the wheat is processed into flour. This transformation adds value to the raw wheat, making it part of the secondary industry.
Okay, ma'am. Primary industries are about taking raw materials from nature like farming or mining, while secondary industries are about changing those raw materials into something useful like turning cotton into clothes or wheat into flour.
Exactly. Primary is about getting raw materials, and secondary is about turning them into useful products. Just remember, primary is nature, secondary is making.
Got it, ma'am? Primary is about nature, and secondary is about making things. Okay, ma'am. Now, can you tell us what tertiary industries are?
Good question, Bushra. Tertiary industries are all about providing services instead of making or extracting goods. They help people and businesses by offering expertise, support, or assistance. For example, think of Mr. Abhinav running Taxova Consultants Private Limited, where he offers tax consultancy services to clients. That's a tertiary industry. Or Ms. Shrankla, who provides tuition services to help students learn. That's also a part of the service sector.
So, tertiary industry is the service sector, right? Can you give more examples of tertiary industry?
Exactly, Bushra. Tertiary industry focuses on providing services instead of goods. It's all about delivering experiences, expertise, and support to consumers and businesses. Let me give you some examples. Retail and wholesale, supermarkets, clothing stores, or even online platforms like e-commerce websites. Hospitality and tourism, hotels, restaurants, travel agencies, and tour operators. Healthcare, professionals like doctors, nurses, and therapists working in hospitals and clinics. Education, schools, colleges, universities, and private tuition services like those offered by Ms. Shrankla. Finance and insurance, banks, investment firms, and insurance providers. Transportation and logistics, airlines, shipping companies, taxi services, and delivery services. Entertainment and media, movies, music, television, publishing, and gaming. Information technology and telecommunications. Internet service providers, software development companies, and telecom operators. Even someone like Mr. Abhinav at Taxova Consultants Private Limited, who provides tax-related consultancy services, is part of the tertiary industry.
That makes sense, ma'am. Tertiary industries are all about helping people and businesses through services, not products.
Exactly, Bushra. Now, one of you come up here and review all the industries, primary, secondary, and tertiary, for the class. Who's ready to explain?
Sure, ma'am. The primary industry is about collecting resources from nature like farming, fishing, or mining. For example, a company like Reliance extracts oil, which is part of the primary industry. The secondary industry takes these raw materials and turns them into finished goods or products. Like when oil is refined into petrol or wheat is processed into flour at a mill. The tertiary industry is the service sector where people provide services instead of goods. For example, Ms. Shrankla offers tuition to students, or Mr. Abhinav provides consulting services at Taxova Consultants Private Limited.
Exactly, Ansh. You've got it all correct. Now that we've understood the industries, let's move on to commerce. Commerce includes all the activities involved in the buying and selling of goods and services. It acts as a bridge between producers and consumers. Commerce itself is divided into two parts: trade and auxiliaries to trade. Let's focus on trade first. Trade refers to the buying and selling of goods. It can be of two types: internal trade, this happens within the boundaries of a country; external trade, this occurs between different countries.
So, internal trade is like buying and selling within India, and external trade is when goods move between countries.
Ma'am, can you give us examples of internal and external trade?
Yes, Ansh, you are right. Internal trade is like buying and selling within India, and external trade is when goods move between countries. Of course, let's use Mr. Rajkumar as an example for better understanding students. Internal trade? Suppose Mr. Rajkumar owns a grocery store in Delhi. He buys rice from a farmer in Punjab and sells it to customers in his store. This is internal trade because everything happens within India. External trade. Now let's say Mr. Rajkumar imports a special kind of coffee from Brazil to sell in his store. Or he exports Indian spices to a retailer in the UK. Both of these are examples of external trade because they involve transactions between different countries.
Oh, I got it. Internal trade is within a country and external trade is with other countries. Now, what is auxiliaries to trade?
Good, Bushra. Now, coming to auxiliaries to trade, also known as aids to trade, these are activities that help businesses in the buying and selling process. They make trade smoother by providing support services. Okay, students, can anyone tell me what services can help in trade?
Ma'am, is it transportation?
Yes, Bushra. Transportation helps move goods from one place to another, so it's an auxiliary to trade.
Warehousing, to store products.
Correct. Warehousing helps keep goods safe until they are sold, and it's also an auxiliary to trade.
Ma'am, banking for managing money?
Exactly. Banking provides the funds and services businesses need for transactions, which makes it a key auxiliary to trade.
Insurance to protect goods from damage?
Good thinking. Insurance protects businesses from risks like loss or damage, so it's definitely an auxiliary to trade.
Advertising to attract customers.
Perfect. Advertising lets businesses promote their products to reach more buyers, making it another important auxiliary to trade. So, in short, auxiliaries to trade include services like transportation, warehousing, banking, insurance, and advertising, all of which help trade run smoothly.
Oh, I get it now. Trade is about buying and selling goods, and auxiliaries to trade are like the helpers that make the whole process smoother and easier for businesses.
Exactly, Bushra. Okay, Ansh, tell me, buying and selling of goods within a country, is it external or internal trade?
Ma'am, it's internal trade because it happens within the borders of a single country.
Correct, Ansh. Now, Bushra, your turn. Give examples of internal trade, external trade, Ukanu trade, and auxiliary to trade.
Internal trade. Mr. Rajkumar buying and selling rice within India. External trade. Mr. Rajkumar buying and selling products with the United States. Auxiliary to trade. Services like transportation or warehouses where goods are stored.
Exactly, Bushra. You've all grasped the key concepts today. Remember, the world of business is vast and dynamic, and understanding these basics will help you in your studies and future endeavors.
Thanks, Miss Bhavna. That makes things so much clearer.
You're welcome, Ansh. Keep up the good work, and don't forget to review your notes. We'll dive deeper into these concepts in our next class. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. For more information or to purchase the full course, feel free to reach out to us.